morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 87 of Bing Bong. We're going to start off today with some NFL updates and March Madness, as today is Thursday as we're recording. So there's games happening tonight and we got games on Friday that lead us into the Elite Eight as this weekend. But before I get too far, let me bring on the co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. We did get some news about our quarterbacks. Not all of our news, but some news. And we're back. We're back with college basketball. We got the Sweet 16, Elite 8 this weekend. I'm excited. I think we're going to get a lot of good games this weekend.
Well, we better, because, I mean, we haven't yet so far, so hopefully we get some good games. But before we get to March Madness, which is obviously the cream of the crop right now, let's talk about some of these NFL updates. First one off the bat, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson signed with the Giants. That means they have three quarterbacks now, Danny DeVito, Jameis, and Russell. What do you think about the Giants situation?
Yeah, I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much Russell helps them. Is this a temporary fix, a Band-Aid for next year where they go after Manning, Arch Manning?
Yeah.
Maybe they get the number one pick again or in the top five and they move up? Or do they go after Shedeur Sanders at number 3? I don't know. I think this is a temporary fix for them. I think they can still pick up Sanders, and you make him your number 3 quarterback and go from there. But they need a lot more help. They need to go after somebody else.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I think when you look at Jameis, backup role, right? In case of injury, he can play. Not the greatest, but he'll play if he can't, or play if you need him. Russell, this situation ever since Pittsburgh, after Denver, hasn't been great. This is not going to be a better situation than what he had in Pittsburgh. Looking at this totally, I think they still do go after Shedeur. I think they get him. I think they signed Jameis in the thoughts of possibly not signing Russell. So now that they got all these 3 quarterbacks, why not bring that rookie in? Learn from Russell, learn from that. But it should be Shedeur's team day one. Day one, it needs to be made. Because I think that's the whole problem that you're seeing in Minnesota with this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Like, it needs to be McCarthy's team. And we know that won't work for Aaron Rodgers. But, yeah, this one, I mean, Russell, ever since Denver, this has been shit for him. Yeah. This whole thing has been really bad for him. And we're going to actually talk about that on the Sean Payton and that whole, who's won that outcome so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Russell is on his downhill slope. I don't think he's been good since Seattle. And I think who was the coach at that time? He knew the writing on the wall. Pete Carroll. He knew the writing on the wall. He's on his downhill slope, and let's get rid of him and see if somebody will pick him up. And who does but Denver? Yeah. But then I think Sean Payton seen the writing on the wall. He was not going to fit his system. Yeah. So he's like, go ahead, sit down for us here. We'll pay you. We'll even pay you just to leave and play for somebody else.
Yeah, we're that okay with you leaving that we'll pay you to go play somewhere else. Yeah. The other person getting signed to a big contract, Stefon Diggs with the Patriots. I think this is a hell of a grab for the Patriots. Obviously, you got a second-year quarterback, Drake May, coming off. You need a wide receiver that can throw the ball. He needs to stay healthy. That's going to be important in this case. I will say this is kind of funny because would Bill Belichick take someone like Stefon Diggs with that big of a personality? Well, he had Randy Moss. He had other people like that. So I don't know. But at the same time, this is the new wave of the Patriot way. And I think Stefon Diggs is going to be a great ad for them. What do you think about this one?
I think it will be too. It will give him a number 1 receiver for them. They ain't had. I looked up the stat and it boggled my mind. They have not had a 100 reception receiver since 2019. That's 6 years. So that just tells you right then and there. That's not. I mean, you're going to get somebody in Diggs because Diggs is going to get the ball. He was bitching. You never give me the ball. Guess what, buddy? You're going to get the ball and then some. You're going to get hammered. You're going to be so damn tired because you're getting the ball so much. Because they have nobody. And they have, I think, the 3rd pick this year, 2nd pick, 3rd pick. They should go after like Travis Hunter or somebody like that. Yep. Or Abdul Carter. But, I mean, he is going to be the number 1 guy. But the bad deal is he's coming off a knee injury. So what are you going to get out of the guy? But he don't worry. He'll get the ball. He better not be bitching out one time about not getting the ball because they have nobody else.
Well, and
And that's it.
they said that he's already running at full speed, so he's coming off of that knee injury pretty well. I think you go and get Abdul Carter, and why I say that is because you already have a great defensive or a corner out there, that Gonzalez, I believe it is, or whatever. You already have a good corner, so bringing Travis Hunter in, now you're saying he's going to play wide receiver because they also signed another corner in the offseason. So you really don't need a corner, or do you go 3 wide? I think when you look at his, Abdul Carter sets the edge. And that's something that you have with a good DB and a good pass rusher. That's a good defense. I mean, that is the elements of a good defense. I think you go and get Abdul Carter, or do you trade back and get some draft capital? With a new coach, a new situation, why not go get all my guys? I want to go get all my guys, not just one great guy.
Yeah, and I could see the coach name is slipping my mind right now, but I could see him going after Abdul Carter. He is a defensive coach, and I could see him going after Abdul Carter. But I agree with you too. I think you take the trade and you try to trade that pick and get more capital because there's a lot more stuff that they need than just Abdul Carter. They're more than just a few pieces away.
Yeah, definitely, totally agree. The other thing the NFL announced today, that they're not the National Football League, they are the No Fun League. The nose swipe celebration made famous by CeeDee Lamb is no longer allowed as it is a violent gesture. Jiminy criminy, shut the hell up. That is crazy. I mean, I get the shooting guns, whatever, right?
Or even that.
Yeah, get all that stuff.
Get that. Yep.
But maybe I'm too white and maybe I'm getting too old that I don't know what this is, but I don't think it's a violent gesture, okay? Relax. Are we going to ban the gritty? Is that what's coming next? Like, I mean, come on. Like, let these guys celebrate. And you know what? As a defensive player, they celebrate when the ball gets overthrown. It's not even a problem with the wide receiver. A wide receiver should be able, or a player in the offense should be able to celebrate however the hell they want. And the nose swipe is just absolutely crazy.
I totally agree. And, you know, now some of these refs are going to have to know the signals to know if that's a bad one or a good, you know what I'm saying? They're not, and these referees don't know that. I mean, they're not keeping up with the times and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, how are you going to start, you know, you're going to go for every little gesture? You're just taking the fun out of the game. I get it. If the throat slash, no, definitely don't do that. I mean, you can't do that, or the guns. You can't do that. I totally get that one. But the nose? How old are we here? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I definitely think it's one of these things where maybe it's going over my head and I just don't know what the actual thing means. But from what I do know, I don't think it's anything of a violent gesture. It's one of these things where, again, it's made people do it in high school, made people do it in college. You saw it all around. You saw it in basketball. It's one of these gestures where once it gets famous enough, you're like, yo, stop it. Yeah. And what does that do? It doesn't bring the eyes back to the football, which is what you want in the whole whatever.
Right.
One question I want to bring up right before we get to college basketball. Russell Wilson signs with the Giants, obviously, right? And ever since the Denver situation has happened, you're wondering who won that, because we gave Sean Payton a lot of criticism about him moving on from Russell Wilson. At the same time, we were like, well, Russell won because he got all this money. Is that true now? Or is this year the deciding year for Sean Payton? What do you think as a Denver Bronco fan?
Well, this will be his third year. So I think they've got to go farther in the playoffs. I think they could give Kansas City a run for the money. I really can.
Ooh.
I think so. I think they've got to shore up that defense. That defense got exposed big time against Buffalo. So they've got to shore up that defense. Now you've got a second year on Bo Nix. If they could draft maybe some running back to help them out a little bit, I think this is the third year, just like Marcus Freeman. And I know that you can't compare that because one's college football, one's the NFL. But this is the third year. This is the second year you'll have Bo Nix. You've got to make a run at him because guess who else is going to get better? The Chargers and Harbaugh. So you've got to be making leaps and bounds to get up close to Kansas City. And the Raiders, they're a little bit farther back. They might be 2 or 3 years out. But this is the year you've got to make a run at Kansas City because you've got other people in your division that are gunning for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, well, the whole AFC is gunning for them. I mean, obviously, when you look at it division-wise, yes, but I don't think they're even on the same platform yet as Buffalo. I don't think they're on the same platform yet as Baltimore. Now, what I will say is this is a huge year for Sean Payton. And what I mean by that is this is his legacy year. This is one where we say, look what he did at Saints and look what he did in Denver. Or we're going to say, you probably should have just ranged it all up when you were done with the Saints. Because, yes, that money was bad and all that, and you had a rookie quarterback come in and you almost made the playoffs. You better not take a step back.
All right.
Because then I blame you for this whole ordeal going down, whether Russell Wilson was the quarterback or was not. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm betting on this right off the bat. I don't think they take a step forward. I think they take a step back this year because is Bo Nix going to be – and I hope he proves me wrong because I like the guy. I really do.
Right.
I just think he played a lot off of his reactions last year, and understanding Sean Payton's offense can sometimes just be too much. Who knows, though? Who knows? Maybe he takes a step forward.
Well, and I think he's got to take a step forward. I mean, I think the kid's smart. I think by him playing, over 100 games in college football, he played a lot of games.
Yeah.
He was in college for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he played I think he wouldn't have drafted him if he knew that he wasn't going to be able to, because he is going to throw more stuff at him.
Yeah.
I think they dialed it down for him this year as his rookie year. He's going to get a lot more stuff. But that team is so cap hell still with Russell. They got another year with Russell too. I mean, so they can't do. They are going to his testing of draft choices is going to be tested. I mean, he's got to draft well. I mean, really well, because he's in cap hell right now, at least for another year.
Yeah.
So maybe the management does give him a break if they do make the playoffs and they're like a one and done again. But
because they did make the playoffs this year. Yeah.
17, they had to play Buffalo.
Yeah. And I will say, if they make the playoffs, I do think that that's a win for him.
Yeah.
Like with what situation's going on. But I just don't know if they make it the playoffs this year. And what I mean by that is, like, there's other AFC teams that I think are making bigger steps than what I saw Denver do this year.
Right.
That defense, yes, it needs to be reassured, but we'll see. I think this is the year, so I think we both agree on that. This is a year to say whether Sean Payton won or not. Because it looks like he won with Russell Wilson bouncing from 2 teams in 2 years.
Right.
But at the same time, the man's playing for nothing pretty much because you are still paying him. So it's okay to drop him in a year and be like, okay, you're done because it wasn't what we need. We need to move forward because we didn't pay you anything. So.
Well, the thing too is they played, and that's what I'm looking at is they played Kansas City tough this year. They're a blocked field goal from being 2-0 against Kansas City this year. I mean, don't get me wrong. That second game, he wasn't playing anybody.
Yeah.
But they were at Kansas City, and they were a blocked field goal from winning that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they played them tough. So I think Sean Payton, another year in that division and another year against Andy Reid and them, I think Kansas City takes a step back, even in the NFL altogether. I don't know who comes out, but I think they, of course, we've said that, was it 2 years ago when they lost Tyreek Hill? Oh, they're going to take a step back. What would they do? They win the Super Bowl. Yeah. So you still got Mahomes there. That's your wild card. You
still got Mahomes. You still got Kelsey. You still got Andy Reid. It's hard to go against them. I do think they do take a step back, but I think that now it's Josh Allen's time or it's Lamar Jackson's time. I don't think I think those teams are just a little bit more better built than what Denver is. And maybe if Bo Nix takes a step forward, then he gets the team behind him. Maybe he gets some of those, big free agencies. But that is all the NFL news we have right now. We have to move to college basketball. Today we are recording on Thursday. We got some games going on tonight. We got games going on Friday. First off, March Madness, right off the bat. For the people that go to bed early, what the hell are these games starting at 8:45 for, okay? Like, can we get these games going a little bit earlier? I wouldn't mind. I got multiple TVs. I could set them up. Set all 4 at once. I don't care. But we got Alabama versus BYU, the Mormons. Florida versus Maryland, Dukies versus Arizona, and Texas Tech versus Arkansas. What one game stands out the most for you for tonight?
I love this BYU Alabama game. Up and down the court. Mark Sears for Alabama. Both teams take the over in this game.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to bet later, but if you're going to bet on this game, take the over. I think the over is like 180 something.
Yeah.
Take the over. I think you got one team might score 100. I think Alabama will score 100. Easy, 100.
Yeah, I mean, I think what game stands out for me is this Texas Tech Arkansas. It's our last Cinderella. Is Calipari going to be able to get past Texas Tech? They've been playing good so far. I will say they all know who they have to go through eventually, which is going to be Florida. But at the same time, the 10 seed, can he get them going? Arkansas is looking good. I mean, they looked good against St. John's.
Yeah.
Now, I think St. John's didn't play up to their quality, but the Arkansas team that started 0-5 in the SEC looked a lot better when it came to this dance. I think that's going to be a good game as well. The other ones, obviously, Duke and Florida, they should take care of their teams, but guess what? We don't know, and that's the greatest part about March Madness. I do want to go through these games and see who you got winning them. Not point spreads, not over-unders, just winning and loss. Alabama versus BYU, who you got winning that game?
I got Alabama. I think Mark Sears is going to be too much. He's too much of their point guard. I think whoever has the ball last in this game wins.
Yeah,
I really do. I really do.
I
think the person who has the ball last wins it.
Yeah, I got Alabama winning this game as well. I think BYU's had a great shooting rounds and stuff like that, but now we're in a different atmosphere, different place. I think Alabama takes this one. They can also drive and kick, where BYU's more of just sitting out there at the three-point line trying to hit threes. This is one of those types of games where you might see 44 three-pointers type of games. So I like Alabama winning this one. Second game, we got Florida versus Maryland. Maryland comes off that game-winning shot. Can they take down the number 1 seed? Who do you think in this game?
I like Florida because just for the simple fact, I think they got their game out of the way with UConn, because UConn played them really tough. I think I think they're going to play better in this game. I don't think the point. I can't remember who the point guard is. He's going to have a better shooting game. This Florida team is kind of destined to go to the Elite Eight. I like Florida.
I definitely agree on this one. I go with Florida only because of Maryland. I feel like they kind of, gave it all they could just to win that last game. Obviously, take a last-second shot to win it. I think, can you build off that momentum? And if they would have played 2 days later, right? If that would have been opening weekend or opening day and then played 2 days later, that's where I could have seen them possibly pulling this one off. But a whole week, a lot has kind of gone by. Florida's going to come out better prepared. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to put it on them and put it on them quick. So, the third game tonight, Duke versus Arizona. I will smack you if you say the other team that I think is going to win. Who do you think is going to win this game?
In an upset, Caleb Love beat Duke. Remember, Caleb Love also took Coach K in his last game when he played for UNC. I think there's an upset tonight, and I think this is the one. I think Caleb Love hits a three-pointer at the end or last-second shot and takes Duke home.
I'll tell you right now, you are the most wishy-washy son of a... On Tuesday, you were literally going, the best team is Duke.
Yeah.
Thursday, we're coming back, which is... and people, in case you didn't know, that's just 2 days later. This man goes, we're going to see an upset today, and that's going to be Arizona. No way.
I started watching some other things, so I've just been more studying.
No way. I think Duke handles this one. Cooper Flagg, they get also... I'm trying to remember his name. They get a defender back that had a shoulder injury for Duke. He's coming back. Arizona's hit or miss. And I think Caleb Love, right? Yeah. He's good when he's good. But when you look back at where he started at UNC and now where he's at Arizona, I can't imagine his draft stock has went up. It's so we'll see tonight, because this is a big step for his draft stock if they can beat him. But I just think that Duke team is way too fundamentally sound. And Shire's going to have them in a perfect position. Arizona's way too wild cardish. Duke handles this one.
I think this is Duke's hardest game so far. Will be this game here. I think Arizona's going to. That coach Tommy, I can't remember what his last name is. He's going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Duke. So I got an upset here. I think there might be an upset.
Well, and I did see Arizona sign the number 1 Arizona recruit today. And then at the same time, I think LeBron's son's going there next year. So Arizona's on the rise, just not today. The last game tonight, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Calipari, can he get one more? What do you think about this game?
You know what? I think Calipari gets them to the Elite Eight. I think he's got that. I think they play good defense. They played really good defense or great defense against St. John's and shut them down. They've got a lot of bigs in that playing from the center. He's coming off an injury. That other kid that he hasn't played since January, I can't think of his hand. I can't remember what it was. He's coming on now. He's had a couple games under his belt. I think I don't know where this came from Calipari, but all of a sudden now he's an underdog at a 10 seed. He never used to be. He was always the favorite. I can see them beating Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean this is my upset of the night is Calipari beating up Texas Tech. I think they actually handle it really well. I think watch them come out. I think there's just this fire of we are the last Cinderella team. We are the 10 seed. We shouldn't be here anymore because it's the big dogs, NIL. Watch them come out. I think he's always had the talent. It's just whether these guys have wanted to play together. And now it seems like they're kind of clicking. I think they're scary. So I think Calipari gets it tonight on Texas Tech. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas Tech wins this game because they've also been just like the people that nobody's talking about playing good ball. But
JT Toppin, his last game, would he have 17 points in the first half?
Yeah.
So he's going to be the key whether Texas Tech moves on or not. It's him.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got to start strong and play strong the whole game.
Yeah.
That takes us into our Friday game. So on Friday night, we get Ole Miss versus Michigan State, Kentucky versus Tennessee. We got Auburn versus Michigan and Houston versus Purdue. Now, one thing, everyone's talking about this SEC, but we just named Maryland. We named Michigan State. We named Michigan. We named Purdue. Pretty solid year for Big Ten as well. But do any of them make it out after this weekend? With Ole Miss and Michigan State, who wins that game?
I can't bet against Sparty. Yep. I can't bet against Izzo. He had a nice little rant the other day after the game. Like, don't talk to me about, what we're doing next year. We're going to take advantage of what we're doing right now. That's not fair to them kids. He went on a nice rant. It's just hard to bet against Sparty. It is, and Izzo. So I like Michigan State.
Yeah, so that's why I brought it up is because I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Ole Miss takes this one. I think Michigan State has had a good run so far. I think I would not be surprised if they won. Do not get me wrong on that. But what I think in this game, Ole Miss has been playing fundamentally good basketball. And I think when you come into this game, that's how you beat Tom Izzo, is you get into their way of playing ball, which is being strict with the ball, limit turnovers. Ole Miss gets up in their grills. I think they make it quick, where I could see a 20-6, 27 timeout. Izzo's kind of bringing them back, and they're already mentally out. That kind of game. I wouldn't be surprised, though, at the same time if Michigan State comes with a little chip on their shoulder. Because Izzo just finds a way to just get into these players, and they perform. But that's why he's a legacy coach, for sure.
Exactly.
The also game we have is Kentucky versus Tennessee. This would be a good football game. This would be a good baseball game. This would be a good swimming. This is just a great SEC showdown right here. Kentucky versus Tennessee. Who you got winning this one?
Boy, I went back and forth on this one. I mean, I think the coach, Rick Barnes is a really good coach. But you know what? It seems like Kentucky with a different coach and Mark Pope, sorry. They're just playing some really good ball. They handled Illinois with every ounce. I mean, Illinois would make runs, and then they'd come back and they'd be up by 12. Illinois get it down to 5, and then be up by 12. So, you know what? I'm taking it's a minor upset. I like Kentucky.
Yeah, this Tennessee team, they look great in the SEC tournament. I'm kind of just waiting for them to just show what I think they actually are. I just don't think it happens here. I think Kentucky's been on a nice little run. It's been cute while Calipari's in here. Kentucky's still in it. I think Kentucky ends it here. I think Tennessee takes over on this game. I just think their guards, Tennessee's guards are just so good. And they get up.
Good.
Yeah, when they play great defense, they get up and going. I like Tennessee in this game. And then the other game we have is Auburn versus Michigan. Who do you got from this game?
Oh, boy. I found out Sunday that I have in a group with a bunch of us in town here, we have Auburn. I got to have them win at least one more game to get some money back. We've got a lot of money invested in this team. I like Auburn. I think they had their 2 games where they just kind of farted around. And I think Johnny Broome, we're going to see how good a player he really is, because now the competition is going to step up. And I think he will step up on this one. I like Auburn.
So I think it was Saturday. Maybe Friday. I was betting against Michigan, and my wife is upstairs trying to make some dinner. And
Saturday.
She's sitting up there. Woo! woo, hollering her ass off because she's got Michigan in her damn bracket. Who gives a shit about your bracket? We got our money on it, honey. Well, guess what? I'm going with Michigan on this one. I think they match up really well with Auburn. They got the big guys that Auburn has. They got the guards that can run with Auburn's guards. I think Auburn is kind of, unfortunately, just ran into a better buzzsaw and the Sweet 16 than other number one seeds are going to see. I think this is the best, the team that the ones have to face so far. Like, I think UConn might have been with Florida so far, but going into the Sweet 16, Michigan, I think they upset them. And I think it's going to be a close game. Michigan wins on less than 10-point kind of games. That's the type of game they're going to win in this one. Houston versus Purdue. Who do you got in that game?
And another, you know what? In this Midwest bracket, Purdue plays great defense.
Yeah.
Houston has not went up against a great defense like Purdue's. I like Purdue in this one. I think that them guards, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer is going to come out and just shut down Houston's guards. And here's another upset. It's a minor upset. 1-4. I don't see that being a major upset, but I can see Purdue and their great defense winning against Houston.
Yeah, so I still say anything that's one goes down, it's an upset, right? Like, even if it's 1-2, because it's one of these things where you just expect the ones in the Final Four. Yeah, I got Houston winning this one. I think first half, take Purdue. Purdue. I would take the points of Purdue for the first half, but when it comes down to this game, Houston just finds a way. And it annoys me because it's just like, just lose. Just lose. I don't think Purdue could do it. I think it's been great. I've been betting against them since day one. So if you are a Purdue fan watching this right now, you're like, yes, bet against this asshole. I'm betting against you. I am. I think Houston on this one. But I think Thursday night, we're going to get some good games, right? We should get. Yeah. But Friday, we're going to have great games. Yeah. If everything goes the way it should be great games. I mean, I'm saying two of them, I think Michigan State loses. I think Auburn loses. I think some people walk away and like, my bracket's done after on this. I unfortunately think tonight for Thursday night, it's probably going to go pretty chalk, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if Michigan beats Auburn and Michigan State beats, now you got an All Big Ten final, Elite Eight in the South. So I mean, that's for a team that didn't have very many teams in their, coming out of their conference. And you eliminate two from the SEC. Yeah, boy, the tides may turn of how this tournament, plays out.
Well, and that was what I was going to bring up in the end is if Big Ten, which honestly Big Ten is not favored in any of these games. Not one of these games are they favored. Maryland's supposed to lose to Florida. To, Michigan State, I guess they are favored. Michigan State's favored, but Michigan's not favored. Purdue's not favored. If one Big Ten school gets out of it, then it's all the SEC. But if they can find a way to get 3 out of those 4, that I think we switch our whole thing about being like, whoa, SEC had a great season. We say, well, the big teams came to Big Time 10 show and performed in the dance. Yes. I just 3 of them is a lot. I mean,
we're worshiping for a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a big Friday because I mean, if Maryland can pull this off on Florida played a bad game. I mean, I'm sorry, like Maryland fans, I just don't think you have the talent. But if Florida plays a bad game and you win that game, great. But I wouldn't say you won that game. Florida just played bad. Michigan State, Michigan, and Purdue, you're going to have your best game of the year to beat these teams. And I think one of them does it.
Well, and another thing, too, is what Maryland team comes out tonight. Yeah. The one that's been worried about if they're losing their coach and going to Villanova and Kevin Willard, or is it the team that's going to play for them to the end? I mean, they're going to play. They don't care where he goes, whether he stays at Maryland or he goes to Villanova. This team is going to play. We're going to see what team comes out early. If they come out and they get blown out in the first 4 or 5 minutes and they're down 20-6, it could be over early because they almost like they gave up.
I totally agree. But we get basketball tonight. We got basketball tomorrow. Got basketball Saturday. Basketball Sunday. Now, unfortunately, it's not as great as what that opening weekend is, but I do think the games are going to be better quality going into this. We will be back on Wednesday. Hopefully we get a little bit more NFL news. Who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers signs. Maybe he doesn't. Who gives a shit? If he doesn't sign with the Vikings, I swear to God, I hope his other Achilles gets ruptured. But and watch, he'll sign with the Vikings. And now that I just said that, his Achilles is going to get ruptured. But we'll be back on Wednesday with more football. We'll recap what happened with the basketball as we'll be moving into the Final Four. And then before you know it, too, hockey's coming around with some playoff time. Today is opening day for baseball. We didn't bring that up, but at the same time, it's a pretty long year, so don't get your panties in a bunch. But we'll be talking more about that. We want to thank everyone that watches our stream. If you want to follow us, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those. But everyone, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday.